Hello, welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. And today I am going to be showing you alternate card ideas with the April 2024 Paper Pumpkin Kit Delicate Wings. And my alternate focus is going to be on the stamp set, the add-on dies, the Thanks and Beyond add-on dies that you could pair with the kit, and the new in color collection, the new 2024-2026 in color collection. There's a couple of reasons why I chose to do that. The main reason is because number one, I'm excited to use the new in colors. I already used them in alternates for March's kit as well. But I want to show off some of the products for you as well. So this is a butterfly themed kit. I felt like I wanted a little bit more cheerful. I wanted it a little bit more colorful than the color palette that came in the kit. Now, that's not to say that the color palette isn't nice. It's just that for this particular round of alternates, I want to focus on the new in color products. I'm going to be showing you some of the in color products as part of my alternates today. And there's two reasons for that. The first reason is that I have an in color club that is going to be happening May through September. I am kicking off in color club on May 1st. If you would like information, I am going to have you contact me. You can email me, stampingwithhart@gmail.com. If you need to refer to my blog, you can do that too, stampingwithhart.blogspot.com. But at this point, if you do want to reach out to me, I'm asking that people email me if that's possible because it gets to me faster. But with the alternates for today and kind of focusing on these new in colors, I also want to talk about something else that I am telling all of my in color club members or people who want to participate in my in color club. I've been telling everybody about this because the offer is so good. We are going to have a starter kit offer that's going to include 4 in color products for free, in addition to the regular starter kit value offer. So that means you're going to get $82 worth of brand new in color products. And that would be the Stampin' Right marker pack, the DSP pack. So all 5 colors and the different patterns of the 2024-2026 in color DSP. All 5 of the classic Stampin' Pads in the brand new in colors. And then I don't have the variety pack to show you, but I'll just show you a cardstock pack so that you can have an idea in your mind. There's 2 ways, or at least for now. I have to look at the 12 by 12. I'll look at that later. But in terms of the 8.5 by 11 size, I have a full pack of peach pie sitting on my desk right now. If you get the starter kit, you're going to get a pack of cardstock in all 5 colors. So you could either purchase it by color in a full ream like this, but you could get the variety pack, which they call the 2024-2026 in color cardstock pack. It has all 5 in colors in that 8.5 by 11 size. All of that is automatically added to your regular starter kit value. So you still pick $125 worth of product that you want. So if you're making a shopping list from your new catalog and you're getting ready and there's certain bundles that you want, or whatever you want to put in your kit, you still put that $125 worth of product in the kit. You get the 4 products that I just showed you. In addition to that, that ends up being a $207 value, and then you only pay $99. So that's I think $108 product savings, and you get free shipping on the starter kit. So 5 ink pads, the in color markers, they're the Stampin' Right in color markers, the designer series paper and the in colors, and the cardstock pack in the 5 in colors. plus that $125 worth of product, all of that, and you only pay $99. It is absolutely the best value that you could get. So that's awesome. So I'm going to demonstrate some of these products for you today. We're going to make some alternate cards together. We're going to use these beautiful butterflies in the stamp set from the April Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you have any questions at all, please reach out to me. So I'm going to put my email up again. So if you're interested, you can reach out to me. I would be happy to talk to you, whether or not you have questions about participating in Color Club or whether you have questions about getting that starter kit offer in May.
Okay, so we're going to dive into the actual making of the alternate cards now. I do just want to say that the intro that I had filmed prior to May 1st. So I just want to say today is May 3rd that I'm doing the voiceover and editing this video. And that starter kit offer is now open and available. If you want to sign up for that, I will have information in the description box below. And In Color Club is also open now, and I would be happy to send you information on that as well. Okay, so what you're looking at here are the new In Color card stocks. This particular color is Petunia Pop. It's absolutely beautiful. If you're familiar with our color collections, I would say it's about 1 to 2 shades darker than Fresh Freesia. It will be a great complement to that one. This color here is Shy Shamrock. So there are 5 in colors. Typically, I can't mix and match all 5 in colors. This is one of those sort of unicorn years where all 5 colors are actually very complementary to each other, or you could use all 5 of them. This color here is called Pretty in Pink, and that is exactly what it is. It is so beautiful. And the dies that you see me setting down, I know I referred to it earlier in this video, but these are the add-on dies for the Paper Pumpkin kits for the second quarter of the year. So these are called Thanks and Beyond, and these dies will coordinate with the April, May, and June Paper Pumpkin kits. Thanks and Beyond is really helpful, but I have to say my favorite die, and you will be able to tell with these alternates, is that Thanks die because the font is great, the size of it is great. You can have a lot of fun with it. But the butterfly option with these dies is great too. You can die cut your butterfly several different ways, and we are actually going to be doing that. This color is Peach Pie, by the way. And we are going to be using the butterfly in all of the different ways. Stamping the butterfly, stamping and die cutting independent butterflies with no stamping. We're going to do some fun mixing and matching. And this is Summer Splash. Okay, so this is a beautiful color. This is going to be, I think, one of the most popular colors for summer. Peach Pie is the color that we are going to be kicking off In Color Club with. Peach Pie is going to be the focus in May. And I did do a lot of die cutting for these particular alternate cards. So you can decide if you would prefer to do more stamping or more die cutting. I have a pretty rock solid combination of stamping and die cutting for these alternates today. And I'm really happy with the result of the cards. And I hope that you are too. I hope you love the ideas. Now, I also die cut all of these dies in basic white. I cut them several times so that I would have options when it comes time to do the stamping and assembling the cards. I just kind of like to piece it together like a puzzle. And I also cut 4 pieces of basic white cardstock that you see me sort of lining up here. And we are going to do some stamping. This is going to end up being 4 separate cards, but it will be easier to just kind of stamp them all together. And you'll see what I mean as we create essentially our own DSP using the stamp set. I realized when I started stamping that I did not have anything to protect my table. So I had to put down a piece of scrap 12 by 12 so that I would have my table protected because I knew I was going to be stamping along the edges in creating these backgrounds. Okay, so here's the important thing about stamping backgrounds. Have fun with it. Enjoy it. every time I do background stamping, I say that, but I get a lot of comments from people saying like, "Wow, you're so good at that," or "I wish I could do that." You can absolutely do this, right? There's no particular rhyme or reason to it. My only goal was to get all 5 colors on the paper at least one time per card and just filling in the space along the way. Okay, and so there was a little jump in between as I was stamping my large butterflies all over, and that was because I lost just a slight piece of footage when I was stamping the greens. So I do apologize about that, but you get the idea. I personally felt like the most standout stamp from the April paper pumpkin kit was the large butterfly, the biggest butterfly where you see the full butterfly. I thought the artwork on it was absolutely beautiful and I felt like it was really detailed. Now, one of I think one of the most versatile or useful stamps, ones you tend to use again and again and again, are the stamps like this one that I'm stamping here, where it's really helping to create some filler and it's really starting to break up all that leftover white space that we have. Now, if you are somebody who really likes white space, you might want to be more structured in the way that you go about creating your background. Initially, I was just going to stamp along, around the edges because I knew I was going to do some layering with this. But then as I was stamping this, I thought, you know what? I can stamp this all over it and it's not going to make any difference. Like it's not really going to break up the butterfly, the look of it. It just felt like it was part of the pattern. So this is one of the things that happens when you start playing and experimenting with your stamps. I think this is why it's so important to just kind of sit down and just create, and not really give yourself any specific like, oh, I must do this or it must look like that. Just start using the stamps, just start playing with the colors and you'll see it start to come together like really quickly. And you might notice with a lot of the designer series paper that we get from Stampin' Up that they do have some papers that are a little bit more streamlined, and then they have some patterns that are very full of pattern and it's very busy. And with the butterflies and having the multicolors, I wanted it to be busy. I wanted it to be full of image. Now, the die cutting piece with the background paper that we just created, I am using the perennial postage dies, namely the largest die in the set. So it is the largest rectangle from perennial postage to get those edges. I didn't have any particular thought in mind by grabbing those. Perennial postage dies live on my table right now. I have been using them quite a lot with projects. And so I just grabbed it to use on these cards too, because I really like them. I really like the edging. I like the look of them. And I feel like they're, one of the workhorse set of dies that we have right now. So now we're getting into some of the mixing and matching and figuring out what we want our card layout to be. What I had done was I had cut layering pieces in each one of the in color cardstocks to go behind the background paper that we just created. And now we're mixing and matching. And I coordinated that little splatter pattern that I had stamped. I had actually stamped the splatter pattern in each color. Um, So I matched the splatter patterns to the background piece of paper, and we're just trimming these down to size now. When I originally cut these, I wanted to make sure that I had the right size. I felt like they were a little too large. I wanted to have a very slight border around the basic white card base because this is going to become a layer. So I cut these little pieces off. I cut like 1/8 of an inch off of each end, and we're going to use those pieces later. Those 1/8 inch pieces, they will come in handy. And save your scraps because particularly when you're doing color blocking or color themes like this, those little scraps can really come in handy. That's one of the fun things about making a bunch of alternates or having this coordinating product that you can mix and match and piece together. So peach pie is going to be the exception to the cards that we are making. What I wanted to do was create the variety color first so that you could see what all 5 colors look like when you match them. But I also wanted to do a version that was just one in color for those of you who are collecting your in colors one at a time. And we'll see that in just a few minutes. What I decided to do was add a little bit more interest by stamping a border in that same splatter pattern with the coordinating color. So pretty in pink ink over the pretty in pink cardstock. And it just adds, in my opinion, to the card. If you feel like it's too much, just don't worry about stamping that. But for me, I thought it looked absolutely fabulous. So I did all 5 cards that way. Now, when you die cut the whole butterfly, it coordinates with the stamp in the paper pumpkin kit. And so I really wanted to show that. So you can either stamp that butterfly onto the die cut piece, or you could just use the stamp in that larger die like I just did here. Now that color looks very, very bold and bright because it's wet, but when that pretty in pink dries, it's going to soften up a little bit. And again, I felt like that stamp in particular was like the really bold, um, the kind of the showstopper in the paper pumpkin kit, if you will. Um, and then I'm layering the thanks die cut right over top. So it's kind of breaking it up, but it's still present like as a background piece as well with the dies. Now, this is the In Color Designer Series paper. I actually had scrap pieces left over, so I decided to use my scrap pieces for the cards just to add a little bit of a pop of a different pattern and to showcase these in color papers for you. It's not a gigantic piece of the in color DSP, but the in color DSP is one of those things that comes in that starter kit, or it's one of those things that you would collect as part of In Color Club. So either way, I wanted to show that off and look at how perfectly all of the colors and the products perfectly match together. Or in colors in terms of the overlays, it doesn't all have to be in white, so you can choose and see what's best for you. Okay, and now here is our peach pie card where if you don't have all 5 colors and you're sitting there and you're watching this and you're like, but I don't have all 5 colors yet. This is what it looks like if you do it all in the same color, or you could just do 2 colors, right? You can figure out what works best for you. And the difference with this pattern is that it's mixing and matching the large butterfly with the side view butterfly, and everything is stamped in peach pie. So same card size, same card layout, same cardstock pieces. Instead of it being 5 colors, it's just one color. So you can decide, which one is best for you. And I had already stamped, a few of those things. And then you just piece your pieces together, figure out what works best for you, what you like, and then assemble your cards. But it's just as beautiful and just as much impact if it's one color instead of 5. Okay, and so now we are going to start gluing our pieces. I did stamp the butterfly in the center of this one, but in the end, you will see a little bit of variety with the stamp options. And now I am using the Stampin' Dimensionals from the kit to pop up this piece, and then we're going to glue this directly to the piece with that overlay. I didn't have my liquid glue handy, so I just used my Seal Plus, but I would not typically use Seal Plus for gluing on the Thanks die cut. I just want to say that outright. And if you have the adhesive sheets, they're going to be your best friend when it comes to creating that sticker, on the back of your die cut, particularly with the Thanks die. So if you have those, get those out, use those. But this is what the card looks like. Now I am grabbing the shimmer gems. These are the 2024, 2026 in color shimmer gems. So you get all 5 colors in a pack. They have like a faceted gem cut to them. They have like a glimmer shimmer to them. And I just did that in the coordinating color of peach pie. I'm going to play with some of these as well. So like as I'm assembling these cards, I'm going to be using a combination of the in color resin dots, which those I believe are on back order, but will be available very soon. And then we have the in color shimmer gems. So I love that we have 2 options for embellishments in the in colors this year. Sometimes we just have the one. One thing I do want to shout out, I didn't use it in this video, but we do have it, is the in color ribbon. So the coordinating in color ribbon. Now I did grab my glue so you guys can see I'm using my multi-purpose glue. It's definitely the more affordable, faster way to go. I try to save my Stampin' Seal Plus for the projects that need a little bit more adhesive to them, or if, that's what's handy and that's what's on my desk. I'm very guilty of doing that. But this is definitely the preferred method for me, at least in this video, with assembling these cards. And this is the Shy Shamrock layered over Petunia Pop, and I loved the way that that looked. But if you want a brighter pop, you could always go with the white in the Thanks die cut as well. Now here are those resin dots. The resin dots have a different look to them. They're a little bit more flat and they're a little bit more full color, where I feel like the shimmer gems are a little bit softer. So, you can, decide which one you like better. I used both for all 5 of these cards. Now here's a different option. If you don't want to stamp the butterfly in the center, why don't you try doing some edging stamping with that splatter pattern? That is one of my favorite stamps in the April Paper Pumpkin Kit, I have to say. Let me know in the comments if you have a favorite stamp from the April Paper Pumpkin Kit. And also let me know in the comments if you want to see another alternate video with the original Paper Pumpkin pieces, because I know this is a pretty big departure. And sometimes when I'm doing alternates, I stay very close to the kit. And sometimes when I do alternate cards, I do completely my own thing. I really just use the stamps or the dies or some combination of that, which is definitely what I'm doing here. So we're just continuing on with this whole pattern, but a slightly different stamp option on our layering die cut here. I love the size of this die cut because it is so large. You can fit really, a good amount of sentiment there, or a combination of image and sentiment, or layering die cuts. It's going to look great. Those are those resin dots again, this time in pretty in pink. Okay, this is probably my most adventurous card. This is the card that I was really kind of pushing the envelope on. A typical card layout, right? Like this is the 4¼ by 5.5 inch basic white card base. They're all basic white card bases in this size, but this is probably the most bold card in terms of the color blocking. So I cut each one of the cardstock pieces down to 1 1/16 of an inch by 4¼ inches. So it goes all the way across the card front. And again, it's in all 5 colors. I had die cut the Thanks die 5 times in each one of the in color card, not cardstock, the In Color Designer Series paper patterns. I don't know if this translates on the camera like it does in person. If you want that really bold look with the Thanks die, you've been able to see it multiple times in the different colors, so you can see it very clearly. I liked it in the designer series paper, but just depending on who you're giving this card to, you might not want to have the thanks die in a pattern. But I thought that they all stood out really well. That said, when I started looking at it on camera, when I started, editing for this card, I thought, I don't know if that looks as clear when it's on camera as it does like to my eye in person. So you could make the personal choice, if you would want to do this or not. But I thought that this was such a fun card. The other way that you could do this is instead of doing all 5 colors, you could do like 3 and then do strips of white like in between, right? So you can have a lot of fun with the design of this. And of course, I'm doing this with the In Color collection, but you could choose your 5 favorite colors or 5 complementary colors. They have that color wheel in the catalog. You could have a lot of fun with that when you're doing some card designs. Now, I decided to kind of do them, one on one side, one on the other, and kind of offset them a little bit so that I could fit in the side butterfly stamp. And the side butterfly stamp is stamped in the coordinating color of the cardstock shade. And that was just to keep it a little bit more focused on the thanks, like all 5 of them, where, you're saying it. Did you ever just have that moment where you're saying thank you to somebody multiple times? You're like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's what this card reminds me of. So I put Summer Splash over the Pretty in Pink. I put Pretty in Pink over Peach Pie. I put Peach Pie over Summer Splash. I put Petunia Pop over Shy Shamrock. And I put Shy Shamrock over Petunia Pop. Now, I know I'm jumping ahead, and many of you are going to cringe when you hear me say this in April, but I can tell you right now that the green, the purple, and the orange are going to make fabulous, absolutely fabulous Halloween projects. I cannot wait to use these colors for Halloween. And I know you're probably like, what? I mean, they're fabulous spring and summer colors. There's no question about that. But this purple and this green, oh my goodness. And coordinating pumpkin pie with peach pie, oh my goodness. Like it is going to be so absolutely fabulous. So excuse me, I'm getting over a cold, but I'm just about there. We're just about better. This is Shy Shamrock, by the way, that I'm stamping on Shy Shamrock. And the side view butterfly is also really beautiful. I was tempted to stamp that in black and then kind of color it in the In Color stamp and blend markers on a white background, but I didn't end up doing that for this video. And when they're wet, they look so bold, but as they start to dry down, you can see that the Pretty in Pink one is starting to dry. It's like starting to fade out a little bit. They're really subtle. But how beautiful is that? I mean, that card is so unusual for me. That was such an unusual design for me. I thought that one was a little bit different, but I love the way that it turned out. Now, I have 2 card bases left in basic white, and I really wanted to showcase the 2 different style butterfly dies. Okay, so you've been seeing me doing all kinds of stamping with the stamped butterflies, but I also wanted to do 2 cards showcasing the die cut butterflies as well. Whether you're just die cutting out the stamped butterfly, which is what the top card is doing, or whether you're doing the independent die. There's 2 butterfly dies that layer in, and when you die cut them together, it creates this dimensional butterfly where you can like pull the wings out just like that. And so it's absolutely beautiful. It's interactive. You can leave it completely flat, right? Like if you want to leave it flat to mail it and you don't want them to be popped up at all, you could leave it just like that. Use your adhesive sheets so that it's all nice and secure. All right. You can create that sticker background or use your adhesive. But for me, I wanted the dimension. I really wanted to show this off because I wanted you to see. I originally was going to do this in more of like a portrait style. You can see how well the butterflies fit together that way. When you do it in like the landscape format, like it is here, they get much tighter because of the size of the butterfly. So I wanted it landscape style. I was gonna do portrait, but I ended up doing landscape. Um, you could do it either way, right? Either layout for this card would work. Originally, I was going to try to do all 5 colors. And then I thought, you know what? Let me back down from this and I'm going to do 3 of the 5 because the 3 fit across the top. And so that's what we're ending up with. You're seeing some of that in color designer series paper right here. And I'm going to be trimming this down. And again, this is using our scraps, right? I cut out the thanks die cut and now I'm going to use these leftover pieces to create a pattern with the card. Originally, I was going to do a 3/4 inch by 5.5 inch strip, and I felt like it was too big because I wanted to stamp my greeting at the bottom. So I ended up trimming them down to a 1/2 inch. So each strip ends up being a 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. And I did it in the 3 coordinating colors of the butterflies, which is peach pie, pretty in pink, and petunia pop. Okay, now here are, this is one way that you can use the in color Stampin' Write markers. With in color Stampin' Write markers, you can actually color directly onto your stamps and you can create like a two-tone or a multi-tone look when you stamp it down. Now, when I looked at this, sending loving, like the top line that's in Petunia Pop, I could read that just fine, but I felt like the peach pie was a little bit light. So I took the bullet tip, which is like the more narrow tip. There are two-sided tips here with the Stampin' Write markers, and I just used it as a guide to literally trace over the stamp with that, the journaling side essentially of the in color Write marker, and I thought it looked fabulous. So I that was an accidental way to show you what the in color Stampin' Write markers can do. I will admit to you guys, I do not use those nearly enough, but I'm going to make it a goal to use those more this year. One thing I do want to say that I learned from somebody with photopolymer stamps is if you're not getting a nice clear stamped image, a tip that another demonstrator had shared, I wish I could remember her name at some point, she said, stamp your stamps in Versamark, stamp them a couple of times, clean them, and then stamp them in your colors. And they'll turn out like really nice, clean, clear stamped images. I have found that to be true. And I also found that to be true with the Stampin' Write markers coloring onto the stamp itself. So I would use darker colors when I was, coloring in that particular way for the greeting, but it still turned out fine because you can just trace the style of writing with that bullet tip. So there's a tip for you with the in color Write markers that I wasn't expecting to share with you, but I actually love the way that turned out. So here I did correct myself and I did cut those strips down just a little bit more to that 1/2 inch size. And we're just doing them in the 3 coordinating colors. And then we have our card, and I am going to finish by putting an embellishment in the center of each butterfly, also in its coordinating color. And for this one, I used the Shimmer Gems, and I got a little bit crazy with the glue, and I just had to clean that up with my little glue eraser there. So you don't always see me using those in the videos, but sometimes I get super messy too. Particularly when I'm trying to move really quickly, I tend to make mistakes. So take your time. Don't rush it. So I dropped this butterfly just a little bit lower so I could fit it better, and I thought it looked great. So I love the way that that card turned out. And then for our last card, we're going to get a little bit even more creative with how we create our backgrounds for these butterflies. Okay, so I wanted all 5 butterflies on this card. and I was trying to figure out the best layout for it. And I wanted to do 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and then 1 in the center. But it's kind of floating white on white. And I stamped my greeting for this one in Shy Shamrock. And as I was looking at the butterflies, they really look nice with the white on white. I will say, like that edging, the white on white, it's very clean. So if you like that clean white on white look, go for it. Remember when I was trimming down those layering pieces and I cut off 1/8 of an inch of the cardstock? Well, we're going to use all 5 of those strips now, and we're just going to glue them right to the card. And that's going to become like the center. So that's going to kind of break up the white. I am somebody who doesn't like a lot of white space. I sometimes, sometimes the card design calls for it, but it's not my default. I like a lot of color. I like a lot of visual interest. I like a lot of layering. I like a lot of repeat patterns, right? And a lot of times, this is how you discover what your style is or what your thing is when you do start to break outside of your kit, right? You do start to break outside of the pre-designed stuff and you start sort of designing your own things, right? I think this is what the appeal is with alternate card idea videos for Paper Pumpkin, because people love to see what you can do outside of the box. Like, well, how can we extend the life of this? Or how can I maximize the value of my kit by making the stamp set last and making these dies last? Like, you might be asking yourself, do I want to invest in dies that coordinate with my Paper Pumpkin kit? My answer would be absolutely yes. They're very affordable and they're versatile, and you can use them again and again and again. We didn't use any kit components, no paper pieces. This is entirely in color stuff, just using that stamp set and those dies. So that's one of the things that I like being able to show when I'm showing alternate stuff. Um, just very quickly, I did do a little scoring line in the center of these butterflies so I could make these a little bit more dimensional as well. And I did end up popping these up on a dimensional, like each butterfly. So they flatten out a little bit, but I like having the crease in the center of them or being able to kind of fluff them a little bit if I want to. You could use one of the adhesive dots if you don't want to use dimensionals on it. So I'm using the in color Stampin' Blends now, the light shade for each color, and I'm literally just doing a scribble background. I'm not doing it all over the card. I'm just doing it about the size of the butterfly itself, just so that you can kind of see some color peeking out from behind and you can kind of see that little white frame between the stamp and the die cut. So we have our 4, in color butterflies. We have this little scribbled background using our in color markers. Very quick, easy way to create a background or some visual interest. And then we're going to put our 5th butterfly in the center. And for that one, I'm not going to use the coordinating color in the in color marker. I'm just going to let those little strips of the cardstock be the background for that. And then I am going to finish with an embellishment in the center of each one of these butterflies. And again, I think I went with the shimmer gems on this one, and I went with the smaller shimmer gem in the center. Just a very subtle pop of shimmer. Again, this might be one of those things that might be hard to see on camera. You guys will be seeing it on a big TV, but for me, when I'm editing it, I'm seeing it on a teeny tiny little screen, so it's not that easy for me to see. But hopefully you can get the sense of what the embellishments add as well. But isn't that just a quick, beautiful card? I loved the way that turned out. So absolutely adorable. Several different layouts, several different ways to use this brand new in color product from that starter kit. Or if you're going to do in color club, please reach out to me. And if you still have time to sit with me for just a few minutes, I'm going to give you information on how you can subscribe to Paper Pumpkin so that you don't miss out on the May kit. Okay, so let's talk about that for just a minute.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk for a minute about how to get subscribed to Paper Pumpkin. What is Paper Pumpkin? Paper Pumpkin is a monthly subscription box from Stampin' Up. So each month they call this an all-inclusive kit. So everything that you would need to make the projects for that kit are essentially inside that box. The only extra thing that I would ever encourage or say you should have with you is a pair of scissors. But if you subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, you actually get your stamping block the first time you get a kit, and then you just keep using that block as you go on and get more kits with your subscription. Or if you have additional stamping blocks, you can always get those out and use those. I'm always using those in alternate videos. But typically they're card kits. So typically you'll make a certain amount of cards. Everything in there is pre-designed. You get the card bases, you get the envelopes, you get die cut pieces, you get a stamp set, a photopolymer stamp set every month. You get an ink spot every month. The ink spots look like this. So they're great for travel. They're smaller. This is the difference between an ink spot and a full-size ink pad, right? So in the kits, you get this size. And then if you start investing and getting, you're really loving crafting and you want to start investing in the full-size ink pads, that's what the big guys look like. But the wonderful thing about a card kit is the value for what you get. There are adhesives that come along in the kit. There are visual instructions that come along in the kit, embellishments, fabulous things and they change it up every month. Different theme, different color, different stamp set every month of the year. And you can either pay as you go. So month to month, you can just pay month to month for your kits, or you could do prepaid subscriptions. So you could choose 1, 3, 6, or 12-month prepaid subscriptions with Paper Pumpkin. You would purchase the prepaid subscription in the online store, and then you plug in your code in your Paper Pumpkin account, and then you are good or covered for that many kits that you purchase with your prepaid code. There is a value savings depending on the amount of prepaid kits you get. So it's certainly worth it, right? So if you're somebody who's brand new and you just want to try and pay as you go, that's totally fine. And you can decide if that's something that you're really loving. I can tell you Paper Pumpkin is extremely popular. I have been a subscriber and have loved it for over 5 years. So, you can certainly do your research, but I would say try it, get it, try it, see if you like it. And then if you love Paper Pumpkin, you just really enjoy getting the kits in your mailbox every month, then you can start looking into prepaid codes and getting some of your stuff covered ahead of time. So I hope that this helps to explain a little bit about what a Paper Pumpkin kit is. You can certainly extend the life of your Paper Pumpkin kit when you mix and match it with maybe products you already have. But if you only want to make the projects as they were designed by the Paper Pumpkin team in that box, you can do that, no problem. If you want to sort of create your own projects and just use bits and pieces from it or the stamps or whatever, you could do that too. So there's a lot of creativity that can go into a Paper Pumpkin kit. But if you feel like you don't have a creative bone in your body, or you've never made a card a day in your life, and you think, oh, I'm so intimidated, I can't do this, believe me, Paper Pumpkin is so simple. The instructions, they're literally in pictures. So it's very, very easy and very simple stamping. So there's not a ton of stamping that goes into the Paper Pumpkin design cards. But as we get into alternates and give you more ideas, when you start to build your stamping confidence, you can stamp as much as you want. But these stamp sets, these ink spots, they last. So I just can't speak enough to the value and the fun of the Paper Pumpkin kits. So hopefully that explains a little bit about what Paper Pumpkin is, some of the benefits that you can get, the different ways to subscribe. And again, if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I will give you my email address right here. But I would absolutely love to earn your business and have a Paper Pumpkin subscription, or you have a Paper Pumpkin subscription with me as your demonstrator. If you don't already have a demonstrator, that would be wonderful. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, and hopefully I will see you as a Paper Pumpkin subscriber very soon.